Turn to open session.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Earth?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes. Call this meeting to order again. Welcome everyone to the August 21st meeting of the Anderson Township Board of Township Trustees. Ask that you would join us in the most important thing we're going to do tonight. That's a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. One slight addition to our agenda tonight, and that is Mrs. Earhart's going to make a few comments here.
Good evening. It seems as though the trustees have had the solemn task of asking meeting attendees to join in a moment of silence far too often. Over the last several years, the board has honored lifelong residents, volunteers, community leaders, and sadly, the beloved children of township staff who left this world far too early. Tonight, it is with great sadness that once again, we will ask everyone to join in a moment of silence. This time to remember one of our own, Judy Dill. Judy began working for Anderson Township in July 2003. She served as the secretary in Township Administration and was the first face visitors saw as they entered Anderson Center. Many of the dog walkers who frequented Anderson Center will probably remember Judy as the woman who handed out dog biscuits every day. She never met a dog or cat she didn't like, but even a photo of a frog would make her scream like a little girl. Of course, that didn't stop staff from surprising her with an inflatable frog for her birthday one year. 6 days ago, Judy lost her battle with cancer. She left us far too quickly. Many of us didn't have a chance to say goodbye. She was a daughter, mother, loving grandmother, co-worker and friend, and she will be missed. At this time, I would ask that you rise and join us all in a moment of silence. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicki.
Yes, thank you, Vicki.
I'll move to adopt tonight's agenda. Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Earth?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes. We have a presentation tonight. Paul Drury.
Thank you. Tonight, we are recognizing the 2014 Beautification Awards. This program is spearheaded by our Anderson Township Betterment and Beautification Committee. Each year in the spring, they accept nominations. The call for nominations is advertised in the Inquirer on our website and via other media sources. The committee takes in nominations, they make nominations. A property owner can nominate themselves. And there are 4 different categories, 2 for residential properties and 2 for non-residential properties. The effort of these property owners goes a long way, and the goal of the program is so that these property owners can serve as an example to other property owners within the township to see and get ideas and to show the pride in their property. So the program is sponsored by Cheviot Savings, who provided the awards for tonight, and I will announce the award winners in the categories, and if you're here, I would like for you to please come up and we'll present you with your award. And Mr. Pappas is going to help present the awards. So they'll go in this direction. So So our first category is outstanding landscape design for non-residential or commercial properties. And for this category, the committee is strictly looking at the landscaping of the site. And our first winner is Coney Island, located at 6201 Kellogg Avenue. Did you want to, either way, if they want to say something?
You guys want to say something?
You don't want to say
Thank you, good work.
Okay, our second winner in this category is Tri-Health Medical Office Building. This is a new building at 7777 Beachmont Avenue.
You guys can say something if you want.
I will real quick. I'm excited that we're in Anderson because I live in Georgetown. So of all of my Tri-Health buildings that I have, which are 7, this is the closest for me. And Anderson's a beautiful place to be in, and we're really excited. And Joe's part of the Duke Corporation, which I work with him in a couple other buildings, and they do wonderful work. And I'm really excited to be partners with them. And we're really excited to be a part of your community because it's very beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
The second category is the site improvement category, and this is for commercial properties only. The eligible properties are properties that have had improvements within the past 2 years. It can be a facelift or a facade improvement to an existing building or a complete redevelopment of the site. So the first winner in this category is Firestone, located at 7978 Beachmont Avenue. I'm not sure if someone's here for that. So as you can see, it previously was a Hollywood Video, and it was vacant for quite some time, and then the redevelopment of the site. And then the second award winner in this category is the Tire Discounters, located at 8600 Beachmont Avenue. There's representative.
I'd like to say I'm here. But no, thank you very much. Tire Discounters, as you can see, is got a large market presence, and there you guys are all entitled to friends and family discounts, which is very good for you. 10% off tires, 50% off service. And as we continue to grow, we are now the 8th largest independent dealer in the country. So it's very exciting for us. We're entering the Nashville market. We've just opened 3 locations there and plan to expand. And again, we appreciate the efforts here in the Cincinnati market. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next 2 categories focus on residential properties. The category is outstanding landscape design, and this is for common areas. So what qualifies for this award is areas maintained by a neighborhood association or by the neighborhood group, or just common open spaces within a neighborhood. And the winner for this category was Harcourt Estates. And the last category is for outstanding landscape design for a private residence. The first winner in this category is Glenn and Carol Norris on Queensway. Queensway. And last but not least, Martha Schuler at Robin Way Drive. Again, congratulations to all the winners. We also want to thank Cheviot Savings for sponsoring this program. And I think that's it. Did anyone else have anything?
Thanks, Paul.
All right, thank you.
That's it.
Thank you, Paul. Moving forward, we have a legislative update. Representative Stalberg.
I guess there's always next year as far as a personal residence beautification award. I just keep trying. I think I have a long way to go after looking at some of those pictures. You do? Yes, thank you. Thank you all for having me. I apologize, my schedule has been kind of crazy with really family commitments over the past couple of months, so I've not been able to be with you. But I am here tonight, as you probably are well aware. We are on a very long break, perhaps a little bit too long of a break if you ask me, but we do not actually go back into session until after the election. So there's some meetings going on from time to time, but we didn't actually have a voting session until then. Most important things that are on my agenda for what we call the lame duck session, of course, is 277, which is the annexation bill. That is over in the Senate now, having passed out of the House, and I have talked to Chairman Burke, in whose committee that resides, as well as Senator Eaker from over in Claremont County. I know he's a champion of this, trying to right-size the annexation laws, if you will. The only other thing really that there's a big fight brewing is we, fortunately, are running a surplus at the state level. We're doing very well with our collections, and the question we face is what we're going to do with the anticipated surplus. That will not be decided this year, but that is a discussion for next year. Certainly a number of us would like to see a little bit more come back in the local government fund. At the same time, there's also some issues we have with the unemployment compensation balance that we owe a debt on to the federal government, which is a serious problem that we've got to tackle. That's more on the business side of things, to our small business owner up there. Other than that, I mean, we have a lot of irons in the fire. We're trying to keep things moving forward, but again, we're kind of on a little hold until we get back into the swing in the fall. I'll be happy to answer any questions, take any suggestions.
We don't
Piece of
have to
cake.
this time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you for coming. As you know, at every meeting, we set aside time for anyone who wishes to, anyone from the public who wishes to address this board. A public forum will now be open. We ask that you step forward, give us your name and address, and hold your remarks to be non-repetitive in less than an hour. And I think a chief deputy is on his way up here. Chief Deputy Schoonover.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to say a few words here tonight. My name is Mark Schoonover. I'm the Chief Deputy with the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. Been there 33 years this month, and I serve directly under Jim Neal, the new sheriff. What I'd like to talk a little bit about tonight is the huge drug problem we have, not specifically Anderson Township, but all of Hamilton County. I'd like to thank the board for their commitment in helping the Sheriff's Office fight this drug problem. They're very committed to that, and they obviously care about the quality of life issues in Anderson Township. And I'd like to talk a little bit about what the Sheriff's Office is doing here recently to help fight this problem. We've taken steps to increase the size of our regional narcotics unit over the last year and a half since we've taken office. When we started about a year and a half ago, we had 24 deputies assigned to what we call the Renew unit, which is the regional narcotics unit. And that included 3 clerical staff. We've partnered with, since then, we've partnered with the City of Cincinnati, and they've added 2 officers to our Renew unit. Green Township has 1 officer, and thanks to Anderson Township, we have another officer from them. And Sycamore Township will be adding an officer in September. And this takes our total manpower up to 29 officers assigned to the regional narcotics unit. The total cost of running the regional narcotics unit for everything that we do is over $3 million per year. And in addition to that, we have 10 canine units that are drug trained, that is available everywhere throughout Hamilton County. And everything that goes into those canine units costs about another $1.5 million a year. So that takes the entire program up to around $4.5 million a year. Excuse me. Just to combat the drug problem in Hamilton County. We are very committed to that. Not only does Anderson Township supply us with one deputy just to help us with that commitment, but they also have a cross-trained canine unit assigned to the patrol division in Anderson Township as a regular patrol officer. And that drug is a very highly trained and skilled drug dog in sniffing and locating drugs. Just next week, the sheriff himself will be traveling to Delaware, Ohio, and he will be speaking to some of our state reps up there about the drug problem in Hamilton County. And that's just one of the additional things that we're doing right now. And in addition to that, we are currently in the planning stages, which hopefully you will see sometime in November, maybe December, of putting 25 billboards up across Hamilton County with an anti-drug message on the billboards, and it will point out the sheriff's office website and the method in which you can contact the regional narcotics unit, either by text or telephone. You can do this, over the computer and give your tips anonymously. And we hope that will generate a lot of tips over and above what we have now to help us combat this problem even further. The sheriff's office is highly committed to fighting the drug problem in Hamilton County. We believe that battling this problem every day is a quality of life issue for the residents of Anderson Township, and we pledge to you that we will continue everything in our power to do our part in keeping the citizens here in this township safe and affording them the opportunity to live in a drug-free environment. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyone else wish to address this board? Either one? Either one. Left-handed or right-handed? Right-handed. There you go.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is William Stanley. I've been a resident of 7826 Eglinton Court since June of 1972. I've heard rumors about Kroger expanding for some time, and recently I read an article in the newspaper, and then this week I seen the notice about rezoning. And I decided to say a few words about it. The articles in the newspaper were ridiculous, since they have no idea of what Kroger has intended to do. The one article stated that one of the houses was broken into and the copper plumbing stolen. They stated Kroger should address this problem before expanding. Well, it was Kroger's property that was broken into and robbed. In that same paper was articles about three additional robberies in the township. The robberies had nothing to do with Kroger expansion. Whoever wrote the article should find out who was responsible for the robberies and have them convicted and removed from the community. Another article stated there will be a tremendous increase in traffic without knowing what Kroger had planned. This is speculation. If you look at Kroger business and its size, it does appear there would be doesn't appear there would be any great increase in traffic. Kroger handles a large quantity of perishable items that require just-in-time delivery. The large trucks delivering merchandise would enter through 5 Mile or from Beachmont onto Kroger property. Increasing traffic on the residential roadways would be caused more from the closing of Kmart than the expansion of Kroger. Don't blame Kroger for the traffic increase on the roadways. Blame your parents and grandparents. They come up with the "not in my backyard," and there's plenty of roads use them. The population has tripled, and we still use the same roads. Kroger provides a vital and necessary service to the community. If they consider it necessary to expand the facility to provide goods and convenient service to their customers, every consideration should be given to granting their request. The buildings that would be removed have no historical value, and what Kroger would put in their place would be modern, with well-maintained, and blend into the business community. Therefore, I recommend you give Kroger every consideration you can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Anyone else wish to address this board?
Good evening, members of the trustees and members of the audience. My name is Bob Drake. I live at 1104 Bernie Lane here in Anderson. I'm here this evening to actually offer some accolades and some concerns about the Anderson Township Park District. First, the accolades. I met with several people from the Anderson Township Park District in recent weeks. They are a fabulous group of people who seem incredibly dedicated. I think that they work tirelessly and probably without very much compensation. They, have done a wonderful job, and I think that the Park District as a whole has created a fabulous park system here in Anderson Township, something of which we all should be proud. My concern, and I believe I speak for a very large number of people in Anderson, is one of the plans that the Park District has developed specifically for Johnson Hills Park. I'm curious, how many of the trustees have actually spent any time or visited Johnson Hills Park? Okay, 2/3 of the members perhaps. It's a park consisting of about 139 acres, okay? It is almost entirely rolling grassy hills and forest. There are several mile-long walking trails through the forest. I frequently see groups of high school students there. I see many elderly people, walking through the fields. There are lots of dog owners who bring their dogs there on a regular basis. There are many groups from Forest Hills School District who come and use the park for science education purposes and for other reasons, I'm sure. The park receives a great deal of use, okay? However, the park, the Anderson Township Park District Board has developed plans that have been in place for a number of years now, but not yet been, implemented to, in essence, eliminate, many of the features that currently make it such a wonderful park. They plan to, among other things, install a sand volleyball court, frisbee golf playing field, paved bike trails through much of the wooded area, which will require destruction of the forest. They plan to install a large amphitheater at the next to the house that used to be the residence of the previous owners. They hope to install an entry from Crooked Stick Road, which comes off of Wycliffe. There is they also plan to relocate the current entry that exists off Bridle Road to Little Dry Run, I believe, which will also eliminate, much of the woods. They plan to install camping, shelters, picnic tables. They've been prohibited, apparently, by the EPA from building a very large pond and boat docks because of an endangered species that's been found in the location and because of the water issues. There are a number of other plans. I have done an informal survey of, and believe me, it's completely unscientific. I know the difference between a scientific survey and an unscientific survey, but the unscientific survey I've conducted suggests that 0% of the people in Anderson Township really want any of these developments to occur. I believe that, the Park District has, done its due diligence. They've held meetings. I've actually talked to some of the people who attended those meetings, and they said that the meetings really were not for the purpose of getting input from, the community, but rather for simply telling the people in the community what their plans were. I think that, a much better use of that park, okay, would be to maintain its current relatively natural state. There have been a number of changes over the years that the Park District has owned that property, and those changes have by and large been for the betterment, okay? But to develop these other materials and other features of the park would be to the detriment, okay? I would ask for the trustees' help, okay, in conveying the message to the Anderson, Township Park District board members that this development should, not occur. In the future, I hope to bring petitions to, the trustees and to the park board to encourage, the park board not to go through with this development. There is some potential, I've been talking to attorneys, I don't know if it's legal yet or not, to actually implement a ballot initiative that would prohibit further development. But in the interim, and before we go to all of that trouble, I would, beseech, the trustees to work with a group of people in Anderson Township who would like to see this this development, prohibited, and rather to maintain the current state of the park for the uses that people currently have for that wonderful facility. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Would anyone else like to address this board?
Good evening. My name's Tom Zins from 632 Watch Point Drive here in Anderson. The reason that my partner Patrick Wilson and I are here tonight, our liquor license transfer is before you, and I just kind of wanted to share with you our plan for Grove Park Grill down on Kellogg Road, formerly AJ's Roadhouse, which I'm sure everybody is pretty familiar with. I regret to inform Steve that I think whatever the total number of motel rooms there used to be in Anderson, they're gone. It might be 0. Evans was down there today, and it's gone. But we felt that was an important. Frankly, we were concerned about some of the liabilities, and we closed on the property roughly 30 days ago. And frankly, I was very concerned about some of the exposures down there, and just wasn't a good scene. So anyway, there's no more motel. On the brighter side, we're going to be completely renovating the facility, and we haven't let much information out. We've actually been hatching this since February, and as I mentioned, just closed roughly 30 days ago. We're extremely excited about the entire Ohio River Corridor plan that's in place, and we think that what we have planned for the site is right in line with both the township's plans as well as a lot of the private initiatives down there. And I think what we can really offer Anderson is that local flair. I mean, there's obviously some bigger whales down there that are tremendous for the area. And while I wouldn't say that we're kind of getting in the wake of that, we certainly seem, or we're definitely going to be taking advantage of that and again, providing kind of a local flair. And I think providing Anderson with some things that I know, because again, living right at the top of the hill, driving by it every day for the last 12 years, scratching my head saying, boy, I wish that could really be something special. And so we're going to take advantage of that opportunity. But as far as what you'll see down there, that it's kind of different than you might see up on the Beachmont corridor. And again, there's a lot of exciting things going on there as well, which we think is fantastic. We're going to make pretty good use of the 4 acres that we sit on. Namely, we're going to be developing a lot of the outdoor space and provide some really good outdoor options that we think that are just limited up here in the way of outdoor dining, and it'll be a very family-friendly offering, and I think everyone will be pleased with that. So we just wanted to kind of share with you our enthusiasm about the project, and that we look forward to partnering with the township on really keeping the momentum going down there. If you have any questions.
No, but thank you very much for coming. We're all excited about it. Great.
Yeah, we're
Good
very,
luck.
Thank you very much.
We know it'll be a success. Thanks,
Tom.
If I also can comment on the regards to the AJ's Motel, that's regards to the bed tax that's going away. Not that I frequent the AJ's Motel, so.
We got to adjust our budget.
Pardon me?
We have to adjust our budget.
That's it. We're no longer solvent. Anyone else wish to address this board? I'll give you one last chance, otherwise we'll close the public forum portion of the meeting and talk about trustees' comments. Mr. Pappas wouldn't let me introduce his part, so we'll let him do that.
It's something I've been looking forward to for a while. So my parents are here tonight, and I'd like everyone, if they get a chance to meet them, just to introduce themselves. We have a lot of great staff here. And Spiro and Harriet Pappas are my parents. They drove up. They get the Commuter of the Day award because
they're heading back right after.
Yeah, right after the meeting. Well, we'll see. They drove all the way up from Houston, Texas, to be here. The first trustee meeting they've been able to attend. So, I'd just like to thank them for coming. And it is one of the most public comments portion of the meeting we've had so far since we've been in office. So, thank you for making it lively. So, I just want to say welcome to them.
Absolutely. You're welcome. We've been looking forward to this for a long time.
Yeah, they have. You have.
No, I'm, other than thanks for coming and thanks for the comments, and that's all I got.
I would like to respond to several things. I'll try to do them in some semblance of order. Chief Deputy Schoonover, thank you for coming. I think this topic is, people are beginning to talk about it. We have to make the public aware that it is a major problem, not just here, but in the whole community. And we have to be educated by you all as to how do we discern the problem so that we can address it. You know, how do we, I see those signs on the interstate that it says drug impaired. How do I know if somebody's drug impaired versus alcohol impaired? So you need to help us. I think the people are ready to react to it, but they need to know what to do, and that's up to you guys. You'll have to tell us. So thank you. Thank you very much. Regarding Kroger, I would like to mention that the meeting that was mentioned, I guess, in the newspaper is next Wednesday at 5:30 here in this building. It is not a zoning meeting. It's a pre-application meeting where these people are going to just present it. It's nothing formal. There's no vote. We have no idea what they're going to present, but please come. We would like everybody to come and see what they do have in mind. We're looking forward to it. But you're absolutely right. These people have been a wonderful corporate citizens, and we think they'll continue to be wonderful corporate citizens. So thank you for your comments. And the last one, just briefly, Mr. Drake, is that, as you know, and so that everyone's clear here, the Anderson Township Park District was voted many years ago as an autonomous entity under state law. we have the authority and the responsibility to appoint trustees. They serve 5-year terms? 4-year terms. 4-year terms on a rotating basis, so every year we appoint one. My recommendation to you, because we have very little influence other than the same personal relationship that you have, is that you make these surveys public. Perhaps they should do their own survey and make their own decision, but there isn't going to be much help that we're going to be able to offer as an entity. But thank you for presenting your thoughts.
Mr. Jackson, I don't mean to prolong the discussion, I'm not going to, but there are other things that the trustees can do, and I'll speak to you about that after the meeting.
Well, yeah, okay. Anyway, moving forward. Crack fiscal officer, Mr. Ken Dietz.
Thank you. We have our financial reports at the end of July. Happy to report that our revenues are coming in a little bit above what we had anticipated. Our expenses are down. Actually, we're like 58% through the year, and our expenses are running somewhere around 50%. That can change, though, because we have encumbrances and things like that. But things are looking good, just as we anticipated. We have no appropriation changes. We will probably have one next month because the tax settlements will be out, and we will have a new figure for the amount of dollars that we pass through to the school districts, which we try to be conservative on, but I'm anticipating that we're going to be asking the board to increase that appropriation next month. But since I don't have the correct information right now, I'd like to wait until we receive those settlement reports.
We'll be happy to wait.
Other than that, Andrew's asked me to make my 2-hour budget update presentation in honor of Spiro and Harriet being here, so I'd like to go into that now.
Thanks, Ken.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have 3 sets of minutes before us. Don't be shy, boys.
Can we do them all at once?
Sure.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the June 5th, 2014, June 19th, 2014, and July 17th, 2014 meetings.
Second.
With minor corrections.
With minor corrections.
Thank you.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes. Thank you. Annual information filing, we're going to wait till next month?
Yes, Ms. Comey is not here this evening. She is working on the annual information filing that the township is required to submit in connection with our bond. She will have that a draft ready for the trustees' review prior to the next meeting.
Thank you. Planning and zoning, Paul Drury.
Every time this year, or every year this time, thank you, I got ahead of myself. The township is required to approve a resolution certifying the costs of nuisance abatement to the Hamilton County Auditor's Office. I am pleased to report that this year we had one case, nuisance abatement case, and this was for removal of a junk automobile for the total payment of $381.21, which is quite remarkable, I think. And I'll give kudos to our zoning inspector, Ms. Hefner. She's been able to work with bank-owned properties and other property owners that may be in transition to, have them take care of their properties, and the trustees, and through the nuisance abatement process, did not have to step in. So only one case this year, and there is a resolution attached for your consideration.
And that one case is 3319 Mount Carmel Road.
Yes.
Which is amazing. We seem to have that every year, don't we?
Yes.
Amazing. Do we have a motion?
I move to certify, resolve the certifying written report of this board's action and unpaid expenses accumulated under revised code 505.871 to Hamilton County Auditor for collection.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
That's all I had.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Why didn't we have pictures of the car? We should have had pictures of that case.
Show it on the big screen.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure they have them.
They do.
Okay. We have the great honor to have Sergeant Kevin Bly here, representing the Sheriff's Office.
Good evening. Sergeant Kevin Bly back again. I have two items on the agenda this evening. The first is a liquor license request for Trap LLC DBA Grove Park Grill located at 6735 Kellogg Avenue. This is a transfer request, and the Sheriff Department has no objections.
I would be very pleased to move to not object to a liquor license transfer request for Trapped LLC Grove Park Grill located at 6735 Kellogg Avenue, first floor and patio.
I'll second that.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Good luck, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, the second item is also a liquor license request. It's for Stop and Shop LLC, doing business as Salem Sutton Sunoco, located at 6090 Salem Road. This is a transfer request, and the Sheriff Department has no objections.
I would move that we not object to a liquor license transfer request for Stop and Shop LLC DBA Salem and Sutton Sunoco, located at 6090 Salem Road.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes. Nice work.
All right.
Thank you.
Nothing else.
Thank you.
Public Works Department, Richard Shelley.
Good evening. I have two items before the board, and I see Mr. Severs is a step ahead of me as usual. The first item is recommendation for a stop sign installation at the intersection of Heather Glen and Stonelay. The board should have had some detailed drawings in their packet. And as the board is fully aware, what makes a stop sign enforceable and legal is that this board votes on it. The sign is then installed under the Ohio Uniform Maintenance Traffic Codes, which says it must be installed at 7 foot high, 2 foot back from the curb, and that's what takes place. But it's not a legal sign until this board votes on it. So what you have before you is a request for an additional stop sign to take it from a three-way to a four-way stop, predominantly necessitated by the tree area to the, is that to the east, Steve? I'm sorry, west? To the west of the end of that stub street being developed with a subdivision.
Do we have a motion?
I move to authorize the installation of one stop sign on Stonelay Lane on the west side of the intersection with Heather Glen Drive in accordance with the requirements set forth in the Ohio Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices.
Second.
Any discussion? Mr. Dietz?
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Thank you. And that will go up within probably the next 48 hours. The next item before the board is the recommendation of acceptance for the English Garden Lane. The county engineer has submitted a request for us to take over maintenance. That is, if the board is familiar with that, that is on the top half of Markley, just behind the Duke Power Station. There's some residents, and then the subdivision is right there on your left-hand side. I believe it's about 8 to 10 lots, and currently only one lot is open for development. So the rest of the subdivision is full and under development.
We have a motion?
Yes. You want to do it?
Well, no, go ahead.
No,
You're
go
on a
ahead.
roll.
Let's vote on it.
Let's vote.
Your parents are here.
Yeah, I think they like to hear me speak. It's awful nice of you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
I move to support Hamilton County Engineer's acceptance of the following private street, which lies in the English Garden subdivision, as a township roadway, English Garden Lane.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes. Brings us to 121.46.
It does. For those keeping score,
We still are number one.
we still are number one.
In the county? Yeah.
And thanks to Mr. Severs for the graphic help over there.
Partial.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And once again, Chief Mark Ober.
Thank you. Good evening. The only thing to report tonight and to mention is that September is National Preparedness Month, and For some time now, we've been involved in Hamilton County Emergency Management Agency and American Red Cross and supporting, be prepared, take a look at what you have, what you might need for the very near future in case you lose power or something else happens. And with that said, on Saturday, there's an event at the American Red Cross, and also we have on our website where you can, for about $5, take a look at some things yourself at the local grocery store on what you might want to keep and have on hand, like batteries and things of the sort. So we're, again, behind that, making sure that if something does happen in our community, that you do have enough of these items to be able to keep things going on your own till we can get some of that service back to you. So that's really all I have. Good. Okay.
It's been a busy week for you guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything's going fine as of today. Thank you.
Who was in charge of the noise the other night?
I'm sorry?
Who was in charge of the noise the other night?
The noise?
The lightning.
Not us.
It was...
did not have control of that.
It was a busy night, huh? Thank you, Mark. Once again, Township Administrator Vicki Earhart.
Good evening again. Mr. Severs has the first couple of items for the board's consideration.
Good evening. The first item that we have for your consideration is the development and the adoption of a social media policy for Anderson Township. This is something we've been discussing with the board since our planning session back in June. The policy has been developed and shared with staff, and with your adoption of this evening, we will begin finalization of our Facebook page and be prepared to launch that site in the very near future, and also be able to comment and provide input on other pages as appropriate. So if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer that. And again, the next step would be adoption of this, distribution and sharing of this with staff so they're aware of the policies in place, and then probably after Labor Day sometime, we'll be ready to go.
Wonderful. Do we have a motion?
I move to adopt the Anderson Township social media policy and support staff's use of an Anderson Township, Ohio Facebook presence based on the goals to the township set forth in this policy.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Wirth?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Thank you. Second item I have is regarding a property donation to the Ohio Department of Transportation. We've been a partner with ODOT on Beachmont Corridor safety projects since their safety study was completed in 2009. The state is planning to implement that program next year. This would be between 5 Mile Road and Independence Drive over in Union Township. With that, there is a driveway that the township owns that ODOT would like to make modifications to. This is actually the driveway on the west side of Franklin Savings and Coldwell Banker. I'm sorry, Cheviot Savings Bank, I'm sorry, I should say. I'm used to saying that from so many years. But it's the westernmost driveway that they'll modify to a right-out driveway, which will address a lot of issues in the past for folks turning into that driveway. Again, we've been a partner with them, and there's a motion for your consideration this evening that would allow for the donation of that temporary easement.
Motion?
Yes, I move to authorize the Township Administrator to enter into an agreement with the Hamilton County Engineer's Office to donate right-of-way for the parcel 18T associated with the Beachmont Safety Improvement Project, Hamilton, Claremont, State Route 125.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Wirth?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Great. Thank you. A third item that we have is regarding the township-owned property, the former Boatsmith Marine property on the Ohio River, very close to the new Grove Park Grill location that was referenced a few times earlier. Township staff, at the board's direction, worked earlier this year once the property was acquired, and the very difficult environment and the work that the Public Works Department did to first clean up that site. Staff subsequently issued a request for proposals for site planning assistance and for preliminary engineering. We received 8 proposals. Number of staff worked on reviewing those and narrowed that list down to 3, whom we interviewed, had some very good discussions with 3 different firms, each of whom would be very qualified for this work. But ultimately, it was staff's recommendation that the board proceed with the firm McGill Smith Punchin for the site planning and pre-engineering services for this site. The scope of this project is very much in concert with what we had envisioned, and the time frame would allow this to be completed by the end of January, so it would be able to position us to possibly apply for grant funding next year through ODNR or other entities. So if there are any questions, I would appreciate your board's consideration of this evening.
It's amazing that we would have that much interest for such a small package. And that's good. That's great.
I move to authorize the Township Administrator to enter into a contract with McGill Smith Punchin for site planning and pre-engineering services for the Township's Ohio Riverfront site, subject to review by the Law Director and finalization of the scope of services by staff in an amount not to exceed $18,400 plus a 10% contingency of $1,840 for a total of $20,240.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Severs referred to the June planning meeting of the board. For the public, the board gets together annually and spends typically a full day, sometimes it can be a day and a half or 2 days, meeting with their management team to discuss how to achieve the township's mission. Our mission statement is to protect and enhance the quality of life in our community. And the board establishes priorities, which are used as a guide for staff and the various volunteer committees to help us achieve that mission. This year, during the June 5th planning meeting, the board outlined or reviewed existing priorities. They also talked about the importance of continued or improved customer service and also the importance of collaboration. Since that time, we have been refining the board priorities. We have met with the staff and discussed it among the staff, provided some input to the trustees, and what we have this evening is a resolution for the board's consideration that would formally adopt those priorities.
Do we have a motion?
There's a resolution, yes.
I move to adopt the Anderson Township Board of Township Trustee priorities.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Thank you. These will be posted on the township's website. A copy will also be provided to various community organizations such as the Park District, the School District, the Chamber of Commerce, and of course we will make sure that staff are aware of these priorities so that they can refer to them in their daily activities. The next item that we have before the board is a policy for defining indigent for the purposes of indigent burial. The Ohio Revised Code places the burden, if you will, of indigent burials on various townships, municipalities. If a resident of the township passes and has no family members or does not have, the family members do not have the means to provide for a proper burial, the township takes care of that for them. For years ago, the Hamilton County Coroner's Office used to provide us with guidance, or social workers provided us with guidance when it came to determining whether or not a family member was indigent, which would trigger this burial at the township's expense. Recently, through the Ohio Township Association and the state legislature, there became a definition of what constitutes indigent. Therefore, a policy has been drafted for the board's consideration, which would give us some guidance when dealing with these situations. So I'd ask the board's consideration of the motion.
I move to adopt a policy for defining indigent for purposes of burial at Anderson Township's expense as follows, and requiring that staff annually update the chart outlining federal poverty guidelines to reflect revisions by the United States Department of Health and Human Services, and furthermore authorizes staff to revise the cost attributed to cremation or burial as needed without further action of this board until such time as the costs meet or exceed $2,500.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Gerth?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Thank you. There are two items for the board's consideration arising from exec session discussions. The first is an easement for a temporary permanent easement with the Metropolitan Sewer District. This is in relation to an MSD project to implement the dry run sewer project, which is been recommended as part of our Ancor and Anderson area plans. So there is a motion before the board that would grant that easement.
We have a motion?
I move to authorize the Township Administrator to grant a temporary and permanent easement to the Metropolitan Sewer District of Greater Cincinnati for green space properties on 8 Mile Road as outlined by staff to facilitate construction of the dry run sewer project as outlined in the Anderson Plan.
Second.
Any discussion? I would comment that the Green Space Committee is very comfortable with this resolution.
Yes.
Mr. Bevis?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Thank you. The last item for the board's consideration is a resolution regarding the contract for the Township Administrator that is before you.
Did we talk about this?
Did we mention this? Yes?
Well, it is entirely up to the board. My current contract is in place till December 31st. If there's something you want to let me know.
I'd like Mr. Jackson to do it.
I'm not going to read the whole resolution. I would move that we adopt a resolution reappointing the Township Administrator as detailed before us.
Second.
Any discussion?
Some decisions we have to make are tough. This is not one of them.
No, it's not.
No.
Thank you very much.
It's going to be a close vote.
Yes.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Absolutely.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Thank you all very much. I truly
Thank you, Dan.
appreciate it.
Good work.
Thank you. That's all we have this evening.
Yes. We still made it under an hour. That's good.
Well, we have a few last-minute comments. I would
That's what she said.
point out that our next regular monthly board meeting is September the 18th at 6 p.m. You can call 688-8400 if you have any questions. With that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Okay.
I
why
move
don't
to
make
adjourn
a
the meeting.
motion to adjourn? How's that?
I second that motion.
There you go.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you
Thank you.
all very much.